Welcome to News Talk, a place for current news over the world and India. Here in my podcast, you can find all the news which was trending in the headlines over the news this week. Good morning. Today is 19th of December 2020 and I am Nikanor Thapa with your podcast News Talk. So as I had my school exams, I thought to pause my episodes for a month and now I will continue it again. In today's series of episode, which is News over the World and India, I will be giving brief news over some topics like how COVID has urged Sydney residents to stay at home, then Emmanuel Macron tests COVID positive, and what Indian government plans for COVID vaccination, and more. But before that, the headlines. French President Emmanuel Macron tests positive for COVID. Paternity case halts Maradona cremation plans. US Energy Department caught up in giant cyber hack. Sydney virus outbreak triggers pan-Australia curves. India plans to begin COVID vaccination in January. Libyan general frees Italy sailor after months. United Nations warns of worsening humanitarian crisis in Mozambique. Guinea opposition spokesperson dies in detention. Lithuania now one of Europe's worst hit countries. Government of India says that COVID shot is voluntary but advisable to get complete dose. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Trivendra Rawat tests positive for COVID-19. Karan Johar replies on a controversial video saying no drugs at my party. India to make 300 million of Sputnik V COVID vaccines. So those were the headlines. Now we will look at some of these headlines slowly. First, Emmanuel Macron positive test prompts European leaders to self-isolate. Mr. Macron, who is 42 years old, will self-isolate for 7 days without working remotely. The French president attended a number of high-profile events in recent days, including an European Union summit. Following his diagnosis, several other European leaders, including the Spanish Prime Minister, said they would self-isolate. The LSE said on Thursday morning, the President of the Republic has been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 today. The statement added, the diagnostic was made following a test performed at the onset of the very first symptoms. The French president's wife, Brigitte Macron, who is 67 years old, is self-isolating but has no symptoms. It is not yet known how Mr. Macron caught the virus, but his office said it was identifying any recent close contacts he has had. On Tuesday, President Macron hosted French parliamentary heads and on Monday, members of the intergovernmental group, the OECD. Last week, he, along with almost every other European leader, attended a summit in Brussels. COVID. Sydney residents urged to stay home amid new outbreak. Hundreds of thousands of Sydney residents have been told to stay home after a new outbreak of coronavirus ended a 2-week run of no local cases. Australian officials are scrambling to trace the source of the infection after finding 28 cases across the city's northern beaches region. The New South Wales government has urged all locals to wear masks in public areas and to be on high alert. Residents now face curbs on travel to the country's other states. The new cluster has sparked national concern and cast uncertainty over many Australians' plans for a relatively normal Christmas. Prior to Wednesday, the country had recorded just one locally acquired case in the past fortnight. COVID vaccine. India expects to begin vaccination in January. India expects to begin vaccinating people against COVID-19 in January. The officials who requested anonymity said a few vaccine candidates were likely to get emergency use authorization from the drug regulator in the next few weeks. Two companies have already applied for consideration, and six more are in various stages of clinical trials. The vaccination program aims to reach 300 million people by early August. India has recorded nearly 10 million COVID-19 cases and more than 144,000 deaths from the disease so far. The vaccination rollout plans are being made even as the contagion shows marked signs of a slowdown. Libya's General Haftar frees Italy fishermen held for months. 18 foreign fishermen who were held in war-torn Libya for more than 3 months have been released after a visit by Italy's Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte. Libyan patrol boats loyal to General Khalifa Haftar arrested the men who are based in Sicily on 4 September. The group were accused of trespassing in Libyan waters. Italy disputed that claim. The detention of the men was embarrassing for Mr. Conte, accused by some of being too soft on the general. Of the 18, 8 are Italian nationals, 6 are from Tunisia, 2 are Indonesians and 2 are Senegalese. They operated from the Sicilian village of Mazara del Vallo and fished off the Libyan coast in waters that have long been rich in highly prized red prawn. Libya has been torn by violence since longtime ruler Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was deposed and killed in 2011 by NATO-backed forces. Gen Haftar's forces, which control the eastern Libyan city of Benghazi and a large swathe of the country, are battling the United Nations recognized government based in the capital Tripoli. It is not clear what, if anything, General Haftar may have received in return for the sailors' release. The men's families had been campaigning in the Italian capital Rome to try and secure their freedom. On Thursday, Cristina, the wife of one of them, said, "I can't wait to see them coming back home and enjoy my movement, putting politics aside. It's already Christmas for us." Guinea's opposition party Union of Democratic Forces of Guinea has announced the death of one of its detained spokespersons. Roger Bamba, who was detained in September just before the October polls, was taken to the hospital on Wednesday but died that evening. A member of the party's communication unit, Joaquim Baba Milimono, said, "We regret to announce the death of Roger Bamba, communicator of the UFDG. He was detained on 6 September 2020 and held without trial at the Central Prison, Condé regime's famous prison." The official added that the deceased was transported to the Ignace Dean Hospital on the evening of Wednesday, 16th of December, for emergency care, where he died on the same evening. At a press conference on Wednesday, UFDG's leader Selou Dalein Diallo denounced the arbitrary arrest and the illegal detention of his supporters by President Alpha Condé. COVID shot voluntary but advisable to get complete dose, says Indian government. The government says it could take more than 1 year to administer 2 doses of vaccines 28 days apart to most of India's 1.35 billion people. The center also said that even those who have infected by the virus should be vaccinated. The government said on Friday it could start soon, starting voluntary inoculation against the COVID-19 disease as it considers emergency use authorization for three vaccine candidates, including those from AstraZeneca and Pfizer vaccine. Hyderabad based Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech has also applied for emergency approval. India recorded 22,890 new coronavirus infections in the past 24 hours, taking the total to near 10 million14 lakh 40 with 1,44,789 deaths. It has the world's second highest number of cases after the United States, though the gap between them is now widening as India is reporting fewer cases since a mid-September peak. The government says it could take more than 1 year to administer two doses of vaccines 28 days apart to most of India's 1.35 billion people. The government of India is geared to launch a vaccine for COVID-19 soon, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare said in a public advisory. Vaccination for COVID-19 is voluntary, however, it is advisable to receive complete schedule for COVID-19 vaccine. It also said that even those who have been infected by the virus should be vaccinated. India plans to deploy its vast election machinery to deliver 600 million doses of the vaccines to the most vulnerable people in the next 6 to 8 months through conventional cold chain systems. The country already runs one of the largest immunization programs in the world, catering to more than 26 million newborns and 29 million pregnant women a year. The program mechanisms are being strengthened or geared up to effectively cater to the country's large and diverse population, the Health Ministry said. So that's all for today's news. And right now in the Kalimpong town, it's 9 degrees Celsius. That's all for the news for now. I'll be back tomorrow with a new series of episode named Topic Briefing. Thank you for tuning in to my episode. To give me feedback and for more information, visit this podcast's website at www.nikanor14.wixsite.com/newstalk, which is in the description. Or you can leave a voice message by pressing the link which is also in my description. Have a great weekend and enjoy this season of happiness. Thank you. Goodbye.